what's up everyone? My name's Emily. Welcome back to Emily Reads Books and happy Pride Month. So if you are not aware, June is the month where we celebrate the LGBTQ community. So in honor of Pride Month, I wanted to give a bunch of book recommendations involving bisexual characters. You will recognize a lot of these books as books that we have read in the Bi Book Club. Our next stream is on June 6th. Hopefully I get this out before then, we'll see. So you will recognize some of these titles, but then I also have some titles that I haven't yet read that I am going to be putting on my TBR. So I wanted to just start with bisexual representation. If this is something that interests you, I would love to do more book recommendations on other sexualities or talking about non-binary or transgender folks as well. So yeah, I guess let's get to it. Before we get started, if you would like and subscribe to my channel, you can also check me out over on Instagram at emil.yreadsbooks. Most of these are YA teen lit, I would say. That seems to be typically where we see a lot more of the representation being written. If you have recommendations of varying genres, age groups, everything, please comment them down below. I am always looking for more representation, especially if it's intersectional. So please rec me stuff down below. Also, if you would like to see other videos this month featuring other sexualities or gender orientations, please leave a comment about what you would like to see. Let's get to it. So the first book that I have to start with is Star-Crossed by Barbara D. This is a middle grade book. It was the first book the Bi Book Club read. It features a girl in middle school who auditions to help out with her class production of Romeo and Juliet, and she has a crush on the girl playing Juliet, and she ends up getting to play Romeo. This book is sugar and sweet and everything that a middle grade book should be. I think in our book club discussion we talked about the really great family representation that's in it as well. And if you are a theater nerd or you love Shakespeare, please check out this book. It is so worth the read and definitely doesn't read like a middle grade book. Definitely worth the read. Barbara D is an amazing author. I love everything she's done and it's really great. Next is one of my all-time favorite books. It was one of my first 5-star reads for the year. Definitely gonna be on the top of my list as one of the best reads all year so far in 2021. Would be The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This book, I've had a lot of people already talk about it, but this book touches on 1950s, I believe, Hollywood and some real world issues that queer people had during this time, especially actors who were seen in the limelight a lot and traversing through relationships. As well as our main character is a Cuban woman, so we get to see a little bit, not too much, but we do get to see a little bit about how she had to adjust herself to be accepted in Hollywood at this time. This book, so good. I think in the book club discussion we talked about just how great the rep was in this book. It touches on so many different issues. It's a great read. Next is the May Bi Book Club book, which we will be discussing on June 6th, which is An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, who is a bisexual himself. This book was interesting. I don't want to touch on it too much because we haven't discussed it yet, but Hank navigates writing being bisexual in a story very well, where it isn't about the character being bi, she just is. You know, she has a girlfriend, but she does talk about her attraction to men in the story as well. It's not something that is necessarily the main component of the plot, but it is definitely prevalent in the makeup of this character and their arc. So definitely really great representation there as well, and it's a super fun story that comments on our society and how we view celebrities, social media, as well as the human race, and it's good. That was another 5-star read for me as well. Next, I want to talk about Only Mostly Devastated. This one has multiple bi characters as well as gay characters. It is a Grease retelling of a summer romance gone wrong. So it's a cute book and I love our main characters. It's great. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. wasn't my favorite book of all time, but the representation itself was really well done. Next, I want to talk about Red, White, and Royal Blue. How could I not talk about this book? Here we have a romance between the son of the President of the United States and the Prince of England, and we read this for Valentine's Day. This is a super cute romance that touches on, again, kind of like an absolutely remarkable thing, how we view people who we view as celebrities and how we treat them differently, and, you know, can we accept people for who they are when, or, you know, kind of like being out while knowing that there are going to be people who will never accept you for who you are. Also, the idea of bi erasure as well. I think that gets touched in multiple books on this list, but how when you say that you're bisexual, people automatically either put you in a box of, oh, so you're gay, or, oh, but you're in a straight relationship, so you're straight right now. And that's not a thing. So I really love when books are able to touch on that as well, and I think this book, just overall, the romance is super sweet, it's funny, the pacing was really well done, and if you're looking for something that is just cute but also really poignant and touches on real issues, this is a good one. Next, we talk about The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. Monty, what a guy. This book is interesting, to say the least. Monty is our protagonist. He is traveling Europe with his best friend Percy and his sister Felicity on his grand tour of Europe. This book was silly. It had pirates, we had ace representation, we had intersectionality of being a man of color while also being queer. Just a lot of things. Warning, this book is probably more sexual than some of the other ones that I've talked about. Just don't take this book too seriously, I would say, and just enjoy the ride and the representation. This is one of the few times where we do see our bisexual protagonist in relations with both a man and a woman at different points in the story. So I will say, in terms of representation, that's something that we don't always get. Normally it's, you know, a bisexual character who has been with only the opposite sex their whole life, realizing that they like the same sex as well, and then the story normally focuses on that. This is one of those times where we do see the character in relationships with both, so that's really cool as well. It's a silly book, don't take it too seriously, but I enjoyed it when I read it for the book club, and I think it could be definitely worth the read if you're looking just for something fun. Lastly, of the books that I have read, most recently would be Six of Crows. Now, Six of Crows doesn't have a ton of representation in it itself, but we do have bisexual main characters, as well as in the sequel, Crooked Kingdom. I have not read Crooked Kingdom yet, but I have been told that we do get a lot more representation in that book, and it is just a duology, so if you are interested in a series that isn't super long, it's 2 books, that could be a really good choice for you as well. This is another case where I think the author does a really good job of adding representation without making it about that character's sexuality. Having characters that are bisexual, but that isn't their only personality trait, it is just one of the many facets of them, and I think Leigh Bardugo does a really good job. On to books that are on my TBR that feature bisexual characters. What I'm going to do is I found an article with these books on it, and I'm going to read the little synopsis of these books, and then I'm also going to link a few articles down below of more lists with books with bisexual characters in them. The one that I first want to read is Who I Was With Her. So I'm going to be reading from my laptop. There are 2 things that Corinne Parker knows to be true: that she's in love with Maggie Bailey, the captain of the rival high school's cross-country team, and her secret girlfriend of a year, and that she isn't ready for anyone to know she's bisexual. But then Maggie dies, and Corinne quickly learns that the only thing worse than losing Maggie is being left heartbroken over a relationship no one knows existed. And to make things even more complicated, the only person she can turn to is Alyssa, Maggie's ex, and the single person who understands how Corinne is feeling. As Corinne struggles to make sense of her grief and what she truly wants out of life, she begins to have feelings for the last person she should fall for. But to move forward after losing Maggie, Corinne will have to learn to be honest with the people in her life, starting with herself. So I think this one is just just sounds super interesting, dealing with grief, dealing with having to be in the closet, and it sounds real and it sounds raw, and it piqued my interest. Next is a book that's been on my TBR for forever, and I am so hoping to get to it this month, and it's called Let's Talk About Love. Now, this character is actually asexual and biromantic, so we get a little bit of different representation in that way, which is so exciting, and this book literally has been on my TBR for forever, so I'm really hoping to get to it this month. So the synopsis: Alice had her whole summer planned, non-stop all-you-can-eat buffets while marathoning her favorite TV show, Best Friends totally included, with the smallest dash of adulting, working at the library to pay her share of the rent. The only thing missing from her perfect plan, her girlfriend, who ended things when Alice confessed she's asexual. Alice is done with dating. No thank you, do not pass go, stick a fork in her, done. But then Alice meets Takumi, and she can't stop thinking about him or the rom-com grade romance she feels she did not ask for. Uncertainty, butterflies, and swoons, oh my. When her blissful summer takes an unexpected turn and Takumi becomes her knight in a shining library employee badge, close enough, Alice has to decide if she's willing to risk their friendship for a love that might not be reciprocated or understood. Yeah, this book just sounds so good, and look at the cover. I'm gonna put the thingies here. It just looks so beautiful. I can't wait to read it. It's been on my list forever. I have to read it. Lastly, this book on my TBR for June is Radio Silence. This just sounds so silly. Frances Janvier spends most of her time studying. Everyone knows Aled Last as the quiet boy who gets straight A's. You probably think that they're going to fall in love or something since he's a boy and she's a girl. They don't. They make a podcast. Me. In a world determined to shut them up, knock them down, and set them on a cookie-cutter life path, Frances and Aled struggle to find their voices over the course of one life-changing year. Will they have the courage to show everyone who they really are, or will they be met with radio silence? Just even from that little blurb, I know that this book is going to be funny and use humor, and I am so excited. So those are my 3 books this month with bisexual representation in them on my TBR. What are you reading this month? Comment down below. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And like I said, if you'd like me to continue this series, please comment down below. I am always down for recommending representation. As always, thank you so much for watching. Happy Pride, and I will see you next time.